good morning, good afternoon. This is Butch Bartolome of the Business Mentor blog over Manila Times. Today, Sunday, we have a very, very special guest, a longtime friend I met years ago. Imagine even before pandemic, and I was able to reconnect her. And guess what? She's now a very successful entrepreneur, especially with their podcast, with their social media. But before we start, let us get to know how our friend Mick Diaz even begin her journey. Good morning to you or good afternoon to you, Mick in Los Angeles.
Good morning. How are you?
Yes, long time no see, no? Mick, tell us, at what age did you and your family migrate in the United States?
I was 17 when I migrated to the US.
And you must be what educational level are we? High school? You
Um,
must have
I,
graduated
I
high school, huh?
graduated, yes, I graduated high school, but I took one semester of college there
Uh,
in Manila and then I moved.
you moved to United States.
Yes.
So at early age, I understand, a lot of, you're still very young, teenager, you have a lot of friends in Manila. But what kind of advice would you say for people who are young people who are migrating with their families? I'm sure you learned a lot in your transition period, di ba, Mick?
Yes po.
Oh. So what kind of tips can you say that they have to be prepared for our listeners, our viewers over Manila Times?
Oh, well, initially, when they move, um, I suggest that if you're moving with young children, have them participate in various kinds of events. So if they like music or if they like dancing or if they like singing, have them join a choir, have them um, meet all kinds of people, and so in that way, it's easier for them to adjust to
Mm-hmm.
the kind of life here in the U.S.
Talking about the kind of life, alam mo naman, Filipinas, we have a different kind of life compared to what you have. In the Philippines, we have our yaya, people who help us, people fix our bed, people cook meals. But what kind of preparation did your parents do to you and your siblings?
So before we left, my mom trained us to do things on our own and to be able to do things for ourselves and do things on our own, such as you know um cleaning our rooms, our bathrooms, the kitchen, sweeping the floor, things like that, so that when
Mm-hmm.
we moved here it was easier for us, um and it was we were able to you know get used to life here without having extra help.
Right, right. So I'm sure it must be a tough challenge for your mom, huh? To tell you and your siblings, "Oh, Mick, you have to learn this, you have to learn that." I'm sure. But again, there's always something as a reward. Now, you studied already. You studied here in the U.S. You finished college, and you entered into your entrepreneurial world. What business are you in right now at the moment, Mick? What kind of business are you involved?
Right now, I have a marketing, public relations, and advertising agency.
Tell us more about it. Baka a lot of our friends in Manila who are listening and who want to get your services. What kind of PR and agencies services do you do?
And so, basically, I have a podcast. I interview entrepreneurs, community leaders, entertainers, and passionate individuals who have their own projects who want to share it to the world. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a contributing writer to several local newspapers, and I also send out press releases to publications nationwide here in the US.
Mm.
And I offer graphic design, web design, photography, videography. and also event planning and printing. I have a partnership with a printing press, and also social media content creation.
Wow, that's a
Yes.
full
Yes, it's
360
a
it's a full
yes.
360-degree service.
Yes,
But
because I
yeah.
I realized that like marketing agencies do certain tasks but not everything, and
Mm,
advertising agencies do the same but not everything, and public relations agencies do some of it. And so I realized that through my experiences in most recent years, I actually do everything. I mean, I do a lot of these things, all, and it's an integrated platform.
So
Yes.
okay, with that kind of numerous service, okay, how would you now say the sort of like a micro small entrepreneur, somebody who's starting up a business, how can they get and for you to assist them exactly? Like for example, I'm just starting my business. It's about
Mm-hmm.
6 months to 1 year. What kind of advice or approach would you say for an entrepreneur who is just a startup to
And
avail of your service?
my advice is having the mindset that people have to get to know you first. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really about your exposure and visibility, and
Mm-mm.
trying to get your name out there before anything else. And so that's the first thing, like um thinking about it in such a way that you're top of mind in a lot of people's minds. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my first advice.
Mm-mm.
um and really getting the word out about your company, about what you're doing. And
Mm-mm.
I can help you with that. I do, like what I mentioned earlier, I do
Mm-mm.
interviews. I can write an article and send it out to various media outlets. I can
Mm-mm.
connect you with a lot of other people who do the same thing that I
Mm-mm.
do in terms of podcasts, in terms
Mm-mm.
of writing. So that's another thing that public relations people do. And I can help you with your marketing collateral, and social media content as well, like building out a calendar for that.
Mm-hmm. But it's a very competitive world, Mick, no, that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? It's
Yeah.
really, in other words, 24/7. You have competition, and it's a worldwide competition. How would you now set yourself apart? Like, why would people choose Mick Diaz?
I think, well, what for one thing, I'm very active in the local Filipino American community in Los Angeles and Southern California. And so I do have relationships with some people from Nevada, from the Bay Area, like San Francisco Bay Area as well, and also the DMV area in New York.
Mm-mm.
And through the years out of doing my podcast, I've gotten to know some people in the community. And so that's one way that we can help you, with my business, McDiaz Presents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I notice you are relaunching your look. In other words, with a lot of very nice photography, your cover and everything. Is this really part of your rebranding, Mick? That I now see.
Yes, it is. So in the last 5 years, I've gone through rebranding, and so yes, this is a new thing, like the relaunching of McDiaz Presents,
Mm-hmm.
offering more services for everyone.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yes.
parang ano I think Mick, you're trying to walk the talk, as you advise entrepreneurs to do rebranding, you're doing it first yourself and proving to the world, like, if Mick Diaz was like this before, this is now the new Mick Diaz, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and nagulat nga ako eh. Sabi ko, wow, is this Mick Diaz now of the 2025? Ibang-iba na.
Yes, because
Okay?
during the pandemic, we were stuck at home, right? And so I gained a lot of weight. And, I've lost weight through the years. And
Uh-huh.
so now I, don't look the same anymore. So I need to rebrand a lot of my
Right.
collateral.
Yeah, right, right. And salute to the people who took your shots, who did your makeup and everything. They're so great in terms of doing the rebranding for Mick Diaz. So, in terms of podcasts, ano bang value ngayon ng podcast? Because people, they are kind of split, no? They say, why would I do a podcast? And what kind of benefit will that do to the entrepreneur? What's your take on this, Mick?
Um, well, I think the the authority, the authority person, or authoritarian persona is very important. Like, people look to leaders
Mm-mm,
from different sectors of society, and so
mm-mm,
that's why a lot of these podcasters, or now we call them influencers, have gotten a lot of popularity,
mm-mm,
because people look to um other people for guidance, or they look to other people, they it's like an aspirational thing, like,
mm-mm,
they follow certain people because they want to be like them, or they're, the podcasters or hosts are doing something that they want to do that they're not doing yet, and so it's aspirational. And um if you look at it from the positive side, there's a lot of people who can be inspired and who can be
mm-mm,
empowered by the things that you do.
mm-hmm. So, but Mick, in the information highway nowadays, a lot of people are kind of baffled. They don't know what is the real and what is sort of like manipulative information. how
Mm-hmm.
would you now uh, how would you now guide people? Because a lot of people in the social media, they all say, oh, come on, whatever you see in social media, that's fake or whatever. But again, there are people who are in social media like you, contributing to the right way and the right information.
Mm-hmm. I think,
So,
like, for
uh,
me, from the onset, when I started doing my podcasts 5 years ago, it was really about highlighting the people in our community, in our local community, and the things that they do, and what
mm-mm,
their personal life journeys are, what their challenges are, what their successes are. And a lot of the people I've interviewed are immigrants, and a lot
mm,
of them are small business owners who, were starting, or a lot of them have only started during the pandemic. And so these are, people that we can, most of these people, we can look up to them, because we've seen their work. We've heard it from them as far as what they do in terms of their business, how they're able to make it grow. And it's really about, their life journey and what they go through every day.
yeah, true. Because the only ones who can tell you are the ones who underwent that kind of the challenges, the ups and
Mm-hmm.
downs, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how you can really learn from them. But how is it now? What's your take on the Gen Z right now, the young generation now entering into the business world? Ano bang napansin mo ngayon between the previous generation and the present generation, as they say, the Gen Z? In fact, we're even ahead, we're even advanced right now, di ba?
Mm-hmm. And I think, society evolves, and there's certain things that we do now that they, like, people didn't do 100 years or 1000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in terms of, like, the different generations, like, there are certain things that my generation does still, but there are certain things that we don't do that, younger generations do, right? And so it's
Mm-mm.
really, taking that and learning from them, learning from the young people as well, and also, this goes back to our educational system. There are certain things that we're taught. There are certain things that we learn in school that we never use.
Mm-mm.
And we see a lot of these um, thought leaders and professionals, like multi-billionaires, that who were dropouts.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one example. I mean, but there's very few of them, and um, there's still a lot of value in going to school and learning the traditional way. But there are certain things that could be changed. There's certain things, that um, like we learn that other people, you know, didn't do in the past.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and like what I said earlier, things evolve. Like life evolves every day. even
Mm-mm.
even language itself is evolving every
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah. And even technology, imagine years
Yes.
ago, we won't be talking this way, because A, it's something new. B, it's kind of expensive at that time. And para bang the world has no boundaries now. And this
And
is, yeah.
there's certain things that no one ever thought of before, and like what you said, like technology, there are no means to do certain things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And one of the things that I'm learning is AI, and like,
Nah.
and I saw your posts regarding AI, and and it's true, like all of us have to learn how to use AI.
Mm-mm.
We certainly There's certainly something to be said about the human connection. Like AI is not going to replace humans completely,
Mm-hmm.
because there still needs to be that cognitive way of thinking, right? Like we
Right.
like that AI or like machines can't do, and that
Mm-hmm.
only humans can.
Yeah. But I think the basic challenge here, Mick, is that the way I see it, there are two types of people: people who resist learning AI because they think it's something of no use or a threat. But those who are open to learning, they can have the advantage. They're the game changer. In other words, because of the technology. If you notice nowadays, you look at the different kinds of job hiring. You go to LinkedIn, for example. You will now notice a lot of people are now searching for people who are AI certified, di ba? Para bang
Mm-hmm.
now is the time na probably for people watching and say, now is the time to change your mindset. Now is the time to start learning. It's not early. It's not late, no? Because there's no age limit, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Kasi nakikita ko merong iba nga, masters in AI. Fantastic, ah. I mean, imagine mo, those in the early years, people will say, "Are you crazy, Mick? Masters in AI? What is that?" Okay. So, iba na mundo talaga, no? Iba na. So,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of entrepreneurship, how do you now see the AI working in your area in California? How do you see it now working?
Well, like for me personally, it's helped me a lot. It's helped me quite a bit in terms of the like structuring
Mm-mm.
and putting together the framework for what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um and a lot of it, is the administrative part of the business. So instead of like, so I see, like, instead of me being stuck at home or being stuck in the office and doing all these administrative things, such as putting together a handbook or a guidebook or a business plan, and those things that could be done, and you know certain documents and things like that.
Mm-mm. Mm.
Like I found like AI to be helpful, for producing those things for me. And um there's a lot of things to be said that, like AI, you can use AI to do certain things. And the thing that it can't do is meet with people um face to face and build those relationships, and really like make sure that you're um touching other people's lives, and you're connecting
Mm-mm.
with them, because those are the people who will help you with your business. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to get clients from those people, I mean, not from AI itself.
Correct, correct. In other words, it's really an assistant, no? Tama, no?
Yes.
It is an assistant to somebody, an entrepreneur like you or like me, who will help elaborate, who will make yourself more relevant. No, it also gives you the idea of what other angles to think about. Right, when you are thinking, like when you're a writer too, uh, sometimes you enter into a writer's block. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you don't even know what to write, right? You're stuck. What will I write? And then here you are, you ask AI, what are the areas that you may want to write on? And there's a ton of suggestions. And so it again boosts up your creativity. Para bang, it's like a car that went on a dead battery,
Mm-hmm.
and you're given a push, and that sort of kick, again, the life of an entrepreneur, right? So, by the way, before I forget, what is the name of your podcast? Because a lot of people might be asking, oh, I'd like to listen to the podcast of Mick Diaz.
Oh, okay. It's called Chat with Mick
Uh-huh.
on YouTube. My channel is Mick Diaz Presents on YouTube. So
Uh-huh.
I have two kinds of podcasts. So I have
Mm-hmm.
Chat with Mick, that features business owners, entertainers, community leaders, people who are passionate individuals with their own passion projects. And I
Mm-hmm.
have another podcast. It's called Faith and Forks, where faith feeds the soul. And so that one is Christian based. We talk about people's walk with Christ.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic, huh? Baka you might have another podcast in the making.
Yeah,
Fashion
I
with
do.
Fashion with Mick. Fashion
I'm
talk with Mick.
actually
It can be, Mick Diaz Fashion presents.
thank you for the
Okay.
suggestion.
No, because nowadays, alam mo, Mick, it's a matter of how people dress up, right? You're not, I mean, you don't have to be overly dressed, but you have
Mhm.
to be presentable. 'Di ba? Kasi like for example, I know for a fact I was taught that way. I was brought up that way. You enter into a meeting. What kind of presentation are you having? What kind of body language are you having? The way you talk, okay? Even the way you dress, because there were several comments I got when people say, "How come nowadays, as if people just woke up from bed and they're now off to a meeting?" Di ba? Para bang dressing up, not really power dressing. Ano bang masabi
Mhm.
mo doon? Because nowadays, alam mo, fashion yun. Ako nga, nagugulat ako yung Mick, no? Probably I belong to the old school. Ngayon, nowadays, you see people in suits, and yet they're wearing sneakers. Di
Mhm.
ba?
Well, a few years ago, I was in a podcast. I interviewed some hosts, and one of the hosts was saying that even though we were at home, even though like she was auditioning for roles, she was an
Mm.
actress. She's an actress. She was auditioning for roles, and she was hosting through her podcast. She would put makeup on and wear heels and wear a nice dress, because
Uh-huh.
the way you dress affects how you feel, and that's what you project to other people. And so even though a lot of us are working from home, or
Mm-mm.
we have meetings like this on Zoom, but when you dress up and when you put makeup on, when you do your hair, it really makes you feel different, and that's what you
I
project out there.
I agree. I agree. During the pandemic, I have friends who are wearing everything on top, but underneath they're wearing shorts. And I guess I like the way you said it, no? everything you dressed up yourself, but you now create sort of like a self-confidence, right?
Yes, yes,
Whether it's
yes.
off camera or face to face. Kasi when you dress up, it makes you feel different. You're not a super girl, no, you're like a superman. But again, you get the feeling that you're all ready to face the world, right?
Mm-hmm,
Compared
yes.
to your house clothes, di ba?
Yes, that's true. And when I go out there, I don't feel good about myself if I'm not dressed a certain way or if I'm not looking a
Hmm.
certain way.
That's true. Now you know. Now you have an idea. Mick Diaz presents dressing up tips.
Oh my God. Yes.
See, I gave you already a tip. So that will be podcast number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Watch out for Mick Diaz on fashion tips. Diba?
Thank you. Thank you
Oh.
so much.
So anyway, I don't want to, get much of your time because I know you're doing a lot of events here and there. So ano ba ang siguro one piece of advice for people who are trying to find themselves, trying to find their way or meaning of life. In other words, a lot of people are now sort of lost because of events that happened in their workplace, or
Hmm.
probably they lost a loved one, or probably living distantly. Alam mo naman, mga Pilipino, minsan they're away from their loved ones in the Philippines. And now, being November, it's almost a month away before Christmas. Ano kaya ang pwedeng ipayo ni Mick kaya?
Um, well, a lot of the successful people I've read about or I've watched on YouTube and on Facebook, on Instagram, they always say to follow your passion. And when you're and when you know what your purpose is, and usually those are the things that you love, the things that you think you're really really good at, because there's certain things that other people may not know how to do, but in your heart that it's easy for you
Mm-hmm.
to do. I mean, they're challenging. There are always challenges, but you yourself in your heart know that it's easy because you're willing to do whatever it takes because you
Mm-hmm.
love to do certain things. And that's your passion. And when you find that out, like there's a purpose attached to that. And so it took me a long time to learn what that is. I had to go through um all these challenges and all these questioning, and there's certain exercises that I did last year, such as, for example, because I read daily devotionals because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian. And so one of the exercises I did was to write God apostrophe S, God's, on all of your like the most expensive things, or the most or the things that you like the most, or the things that you value the most, the things that you use the most. And for me, so I did that. And for me, it was my camera, my computer, my car, like all these things that I use on a daily basis. And I realized that, oh, I create flyers, I write through my computer, I take pictures with my camera, my mic, my production equipment. I mean, those are really
Mm-hmm.
expensive things. And from there I thought, okay, well, those things come from God. And those are the things that help me do what I love to do. And those are things, and God allows me to experience all these things. So everything came from God, and I should be, glorifying God's name. I should be thankful and grateful for God, and use the platform that I have to glorify his name. And so that's how I came up with, what I'm doing now. Like, that's how I
Mm-hmm.
came up with, what is my purpose? What are things that I love to do? What am I really passionate about? And And so that's what helped me. That exercise helped me realize that.
Right. Oh, that's deep. That's
Yeah,
deep.
yeah. I mean, I went through
That's
that exercise. I
yeah.
went through that
Yeah, right,
process.
right. But again, let's face it. No, I mean, we life is just a it's a transition from here to there, no?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just vessels, as I always use. We're just vessels. We're not the creators. Whatever success you have is probably a way for God to tell us and to help us bring to a lot of people. But it cannot be something that I alone, di ba? Para bang it's not you, but it's somebody up there who's just paving the way, right? So, wow, that is something else. And I think this is now the trend, no? It cannot be me alone, but it's actually the we, you know? It's not me, but turn around the M and it becomes we. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
think about the way you affect others. Think away how we can be responsible to others, and that's actually the purpose of this business mentor blog. You know, I mean, to teach people that there is something that we can do if you only look up, diba? Not look
Mm-hmm.
down, diba? That's something like a book that I wrote, Nowhere But Up. Anyway, Mick, how can they get in touch with you? Uh, are you involved in all the social media? What name will they look for?
Yes, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Mick Diaz, MICDIAZ, and you can find me at mickdiazpresents.com.
Wow. Uh, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. The young girl at 17 who has transformed into the new Mick Diaz Presents, diba? So, yeah, thank you very much for this brief, but at least give us an update on probably the third and the fourth podcast that you will be creating soon. All right. So, yeah, keep us updated. And hopefully, I'd like to really ask our viewers to take a look at Big Diaz, no? The services that she can render for you, and also her journey, no? Her journey out in the United States. Okay, so Mick, thank you very much for this interview, and good luck to all your journey and to your success.